So, video 2, right? In 1966, he was planning a caravan drive to Mexico. While he was in Mexico, he was making this plan, and he was detained by the Mexican government, believing that the Mexican government was going to have his back and bringing these documents and all the research that he's done to the United Nations, but somehow learning that supposedly the FBI had intervened with what was going to happen with this meeting. So in 1966, Reyes also went to Spain for a couple years, where he learned about Spanish law grants between the Indians and Mexico of land rights. In 1967, he led armed men onto the Rio Araba County Courthouse because members of his group were arrested, but unknowingly he did not know they were already released. Him and these men went and got into an incident, a fire match. 2 officers were hit. With that being said, Reyes was the one being charged with 54 counts of a criminal act. Reyes was received into 2 years of the prison time, where he was in Texas, celled up with a guy named Joe Valenti, a mafia mobster. In that time being celled with him, Reyes did not eat any food given to him by the guards, believing that they would looking to poison him, and if being poisoned, that they would blame it on the mafia. While not really eating, the only way he ate was other Mexicans would give him food off their plates. That's the way he ate there for 2 years, never eating his own plate, only what other Mexicans would give to him. While being there, he was sent to Albuquerque, New Mexico. This being said, a guy named Walter Payton, a 25 years old white militia, said, if the King gets sent here and gets placed in my cell, I will kill him. Do not place me with the Tiger King. That was one of his nicknames given to him by the media and by the people, because Reyes was just on the issue. He was never surrendering. He did not give up. He was putting in so much work, learning land rights, land grants, understanding the treaties between Mexico and the United States, between New Spain and the United States.
Screensaver.
While this being said, he was also sent to Albuquerque. What Walter Payton, like I said, Walter Payton, obviously, when he was placed with Reyes, they sent him right to where this guy said, don't place him with me. The Albuquerque faculty placed him in that cell, but nothing happened. They actually talked for many hours and got along, confusing the faculty, took Walter Payton, and yet they never seen each other again. Maybe it was just BS, and maybe that guy Walter Payton wanted to meet Reyes, see what he was like, you know? While after spending time in Albuquerque, they sent him in 1970 to Springfield Mental Hospital, trying to get him in any way. Having him placed in a mental faculty could possibly damage, his career. These doctors trying to place him on meds, trying to label him, a 5150 case, and, get him never seen again. This is what they would do to you. This is how they treat our leaders. This is what was done back in the days to black and brown activist leader men. You got to think about, would these treaties be relevant today? Back in the 50s, right, the United States white authority was at an all-time high, but the United States foundation was still kind of weak, maybe, within paperwork. When it comes to these land rights, they were still soft enough to be able to push this paperwork and receive land back in that time. Because could we do that now in this time? Are these documents still available? And can we show them? Or are we too far along from that now? As a people, as a nation trying to rebuild. In 1963, he was divorced. His wife could not no longer put up with all this lifestyle, this radical lifestyle. 2 years later, he remarried. In 1994, he got married for the third time. But Reies Lopez was a man of initiative, a Chicano hero. You think about this. He went to Spain in 1966 just to learn more land grants. He lived there for a while. He lived in Mexico. He was studying law, the Constitution, trying to talk to ranchers and people who kind of owned land at the time. But yet, people pushing against him, the United States government pushing and pushing against him. Because in the 50s, at that point, I gotta say that paperwork would have played a valid part in that time of the United States really trying to gain that stronghold, really trying to rebuild that foundation into the modern society that it is. And with him pulling out these land grants and these treaties was not good, especially if he was trying to take it to the United Nations. Well, so much throughout the years trying to convince Mexican politicians to listen to him, and they wouldn't. He got accepted. The general did talk with Reyes. He had an audience. He was in Mexico speaking, showing them the paperwork that he had, the land grants, showing them about the rights, telling them about the rights. The general had his back of Mexico and said, you have to be serious about this also. And that's when he got him to, was going to meet with the president, but his documents were stolen. So he only obtained one treaty. Remember, the Temple of Barrio for 25 cents. 25 cents at the time. Looking for documents, going and researching. He was going to have a caravan drive. Now, that caravan drive in 1966, where he was detained, lets you know that the United States government really intervenes. It really does not want, us as a people to reestablish a foundation here on this continent. And it's hard to play by their game, by their own paperwork. That's why you got to have war sometimes, unfortunately, to really get through to what you want, because paperwork's not always going to work. Other than that, Reies Lopez is an underrated Chicano hero, and hopefully is more recognized throughout time, and the effort and the work that he put in for our people to be recognized and to have a piece of our land back. He went to the Pinta. He was a pastor, activist, leader. He was a man who took real initiative. Other than that, you can't get any better than that. Culture is power. History is knowledge.